Good morning. This video will cover writing a research paragraph, the basics, and this is kind of the bare minimum that you need to get started. So you guys came to class today with a paragraph that involved you to research either an echo chamber or mob mentality or fascism. And I want you to take that paragraph and go back to Google Classroom where that assignment pops up, and I'd like you to hit unsubmit. Um, because we're going to be editing that today and revising it specifically based on the learning that I'm about to present or the content that I'm about to present. So go back and just hit unsubmit on that assignment where you normally hit the turn in button, and then we'll get going from there. Okay, let's talk about why write a research paragraph. When you're given a writing prompt, and the prompt asks you to basically find the answer to something, or when it's less of an analytical prompt where you're digging into text and talking about the author, and more of a detailed prompt asking you to just report information, then it's probably a research prompt, right? And this week's prompts, the three that you had to choose from, were research prompts, right? Because it involves reporting back what you found in a paragraph format. So that means that it's probably going to be more along the lines of a research paragraph as opposed to like a 2-4 or a 3-6. If those terms don't sound familiar to you, we'll get to those too. But that's kind of the format we're working with today. When should I write one? Well, write a research paragraph when you get a prompt that involves just reporting back on something that you learned or something that you investigated. How should it look? We'll cover that too as well. All right. Here's some great questions that I received this week over office hours, over my Wednesday meetings. Remember, I'm available to you Wednesdays and then every day from 2:40 to 3:15 on Google Meets. And I also got these questions on Remind and via comment and via email. Lots of good questions. One of them, where should I go to do the research? You are welcome to just do a Google search for your sources. Let's say you were researching echo chamber. We'll skip Wikipedia. Digital media literacy. What is an echo chamber? The reason your feed became an echo chamber. BBC news source. So you're welcome to use a news source or some sort of article that you've deemed reliable in order to get your source. Or you can use the resources that Foothill pays for us to use, and those are EBSCO and Points of View. You're always welcome to use those. What you can do is you can go to the Foothill Cougars website. I'm going to keep that how-to video at the top of the classwork page, by the way, for you. You can go to Library, Research Center, and then you can go in here. Cougar Research is the username, and Foothill 2020 exclamation point is the password, no caps. And then if you get to this Points of View, that's personally my favorite source because it gives you topics left, right, and center. So it'll always show you an objective view about a topic and then a point and a counterpoint, a pro and a con. So let's just go mob mentality and see what pops up. Madness of crowds might work. This article examines the dangers of mob mentality, which describes the agreement of, okay, that looks like a good one, and it looks like there's several other good sources for us too. So this is a resource that you can use, and what I like about this is it automatically cites. So let's say I wanted to use this article called Madness of Crowds in my paragraph. You could go in and use the article, read, and then collect your quotes that you want to pull for your paragraph. And then if you hit this little cite button on the right and scroll down to MLA, then it will actually cite the article for you. Or let's say I'm writing about mob mentality and I want to just cite this website. I could take this URL for the site, could go to OWL Purdue MLA. This is an MLA how-to resource. And on this resource, on this site, they have included a little box, a little link to Citation Machine, which you can use by hitting Control V. So you're pasting the URL of this website into the Citation Machine. And you can create your citation by clicking through their steps. Continue. All right, it's going to take a while, but there we go. All right, it's going to make me watch an ad, which it might make you watch an ad too, but that's an option for you as well for citing sources. So I thought that was a good question. Are you going to read this? Yes, I will read this. What if I'm not comfortable using MLA format? If you're not comfortable using MLA format, you may go back to that web page that I pulled up with the Purdue OWL sample paper in MLA, and you can use this site to compare your work with this sample paper. There's really helpful annotations on the left and right to kind of show you how everything should be set up. And then if you'll notice at the very end, there's this works cited page that will show you kind of how that should be formatted as well. So that's one option. Or you can kind of cheat the system a little bit. Open up a new tab. Instead of going to Drive to create a document, Drive is a lot more organized, by the way. I'll always prefer you to use Drive just to kind of keep your docs in order. But if you actually just go to Docs, there are some templates that you can use, and you can pull up this report in MLA. And as long as you remember to change and put your information in, so please title it. Don't just leave the title to be report. As long as you remember to put your own information here and then delete all of the text, this is just sample text, then you're good to go. Okay, what other questions? The login for EBSCO isn't working. What should I do? I posted the correct one at the very top of the classwork page, so we'll need that all year, so I'm just going to leave it there. And then I also got a question, a couple times, what is the 4-1 structure? That's what we're going to learn today. Just kind of wanted to see where you guys were at with your research skills now. And then this information should really help you as you are carrying on with your revisions today. Okay, so let's go through this. So 4-1 structure. I'd like you to add this to your notes. So if you have that English notes document, please add this, and the title of today's entry should be How to Write a 4-1 Research Paragraph. And then please remember to bold the heading so that it automatically creates a new section. All right, here's the structure. For sentence 1, you're going to do a topic sentence. And in this topic sentence, you're going to answer the research prompt, the details you learned in your research. The next one might surprise you. Don't include an opinion. You may have learned last year that the first sentence of your paragraph should contain an opinion, right? That's for more of a 2-4 or a 3-6 where you're digging into literature or analysis. For this one, you're actually just reporting back on your research, so leave an opinion out of it. You're simply stating your topic sentence with a few details that you learned as you researched. The next sentence is going to be your evidence. This is a quote that you're pulling from one of the articles you found. And there are 3 pieces that go into your evidence. There's going to be a signal phrase, a quote, and a citation. For your signal phrase, introduce your quote with a introductory phrase. If you need ideas, feel free to do a quick Google search. There's lots of resources on there for ideas for signal phrases. Then you're going to come up with your quote, or you're going to state your quote, and then a citation. You're actually, for a 4-1, you're going to do that 3 more times. So again, this is a great format for a paragraph when you're simply reporting back on what you found. Here's what I found, here's an example, here's an example, here's an example, and here's an example as well. The last sentence is going to be your analysis. This is where you actually kind of explain it. Right here, you're explaining, all right, and summing it up and tying your evidence together. So that's kind of about a 4-1 structure. I also have a rubric that's attached to the assignment as well. I believe I put it under, yes, revised research paragraph. So this is what you're submitting this week when you revise, so a new copy of your paper, or it doesn't have to be a new copy, but a revised version of your paragraph based on what you're learning today. And then in that revised version of your paragraph, I'd like you to be reviewing the rubric expectations here. And this will kind of describe more about what we're looking for in a 4-1. All right, so that's kind of the basics of the structure. So if you are thinking right now, man, I did nothing like that, that is not what my paragraph looks like, that's fine. This week and today, you're going to be revising to make sure that your work fits this format. All right, MLA format, I'm going to go back to that. So if you want to add this to your notes, please do. MLA format, again, use the OWL Purdue site. Lots of good resources there, specifically the sample doc. You can use that to compare. Compare the sample doc and then go to docs and use the template. So just like I showed you, you can just make sure that if you use that, you change the information. Works cited. I think I already covered this, but you may use the MLA OWL Purdue. So these this site contains directions on how to cite pretty much anything, electronic sources, etc. Or you can use Citation Machine, which is probably the easiest. But I'd like you guys to delete EasyBib. We were talking about it as a department the other day, and it's not really producing the right kind of citations. There are always errors. So if you added that as an add-on, please delete it now. All right, last but not least, here's what I'm going to have you guys do. I'm going to have you apply your learning. So you're going to take this information, and I want you to apply it to your own paragraph. So ask yourself what needs to change in my paragraph that I wrote to fit with this new learning that I have, or this new information that I have. Okay. So the steps for that are here. You're going to share your paragraph by student ID. Please don't trade Chromebooks. Okay. Keep your Chrome your own. But you're going to share your paragraph with 2 other students in the classroom via Docs. And you're also going to receive 2 as well. I'd like you to go to Classroom and you're going to start with, don't start with your own, start with the 2 other paragraphs that you're reviewing. Go to this in-class research paragraph revision. You'll find the slideshow that I just went over. You'll find the link to the citation machine and MLA, etc. And then you're going to find this research paragraph and reflection. You're going to fill this out 3 times. Start with the 2 classmates that you're reviewing, and you're just going to fill this out for them. And then go back and examine your own and fill out the reflection for your own paper. So you'll do it 3 times total. After you've reflected on your own work, and I'd like you to spend the most time on this form on your own work, after that, I'd like you to revise. The last question here asks you what needs to be revised. List and describe 5 things that you will need to be, or that will need to be fixed or changed in this work. This is where I want you to spend the majority of your time. All of you have at least 5 things based on the information I just shared with you that you will need to go back and revise. So make sure you have a list of that plan mapped out in the last question for me to see and for yourself. Okay, this question here, look up the term self-efficacy and define it in your own words. You'll need that for this question. You can skip it the second 2 times that you do this form. This question asks for some common errors. See if you can catch those. If you're not familiar with what some of these errors mean, that's okay. And then the other questions have to do with the format, and you're basically helping your classmate identify errors in structure. Like if they have 8 sentences, now you know that a 4-1 is actually 6 sentences, so count those up. How many quotes are used? Most of you guys had 1 to 2. We're looking for 3 to 4, right, for a 4-1 structure. And then some of us are using quote bombs, so quotes in the paper without a signal phrase. Look for those as well. And what you can do is after you hit submit on this form, you can select send me a copy of my responses, and then you'll get an email that contains your responses that you just submitted, and then you can send that to your friend or your classmate that you just evaluated. So if they want your review of their paragraph, then you can do that way, but you don't have to. Okay. And then you're going to revise your own. This week, when you revise, please go ahead and use the in-class research paragraph revision resources. So use all of those to help you guys out with this. When you revise, I'd first like you to do the vocab assignment first, because that's going to actually contain some info that you might need that will be really helpful. Then submit your revised research paragraph. And I'd like you to do that in this new assignment box as opposed to just here. So we're going to pull it into this next week as well. And then lastly, you're doing a quick little meme analysis Flipgrid, which is actually going to be really fun because you get to go through and analyze a meme of your choice. And then this one's on public, so you're going to actually end up responding to another classmate and what they have to say. All right, guys, please make sure that you sign up for Remind if you haven't, and I will be responding to your questions if any of them come up throughout the week. All right, thank you.